Hey, Eric.
I don't have any lines.
I don't either.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Hey, have you heard of patreon.com?
Yes.
You've heard of it?
Yes.
Yes. You can go there to support creators. We are considered a creator because we create this podcast.
Oh.
It's a pretty good podcast. So if you like it, you can go to patreon.com/retroam and support us today. Now, would you like to hear some hot sounds that I have recorded?
Okay.
Welcome to Retrograde Amnesia, a comprehensive podcast series about Xenogears. Once upon a time, two people with an immense appreciation for giant robots, religious apocrypha, and psychoanalysis got married and wrote a video game script. That series of events eventually led two middle-aged Americans to a basement to discuss it 21 years later. Hi, my name's Chris. I am one of those middle-aged Americans. I'm joined by Eric. Hey, Eric.
Hey, Chris. I resent being called middle-aged.
Yeah, we're not really middle-aged. I think middle-aged is like what, like 45, 50?
Yeah,
we're not quite there.
Close.
Yeah, close, but we're not quite there yet. I guess I contacted you this weekend and I said, Eric, I think it might be a good idea to just discuss one chapter this week, because a little behind the scenes stuff. We typically plan to record two podcasts every time we convene in this here basement. I thought that maybe we needed to channel all of our mental energy into just one podcast this week, because this particular section of the game has capital, like a lot of shit in it.
Yes.
And
quite a bit.
Was this a good decision to maybe just focus on this one?
Yeah, I think so. I've got 4 pages of notes. Usually it's about 3 or 3.5. So there's a significant amount of content down here. And no Gazel sequence either, which means there's less speculative...
Hogwash?
Hogwash.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so... We left off. Where did we? Oh, the Thames was getting owned.
It was, but first, I have an egregious oversight and correction.
Yeah. I forgot about an egregious oversight and correction. Do you have one?
In our last podcast, Stone took off in a gear called a Shell, and Chris pointed maybe that said Archangel, and I thought that was fucking brilliant. Even the fake net thought it was brilliant.
Initializing fake net.
It wasn't bad for a human.
Thank you, FakeNet.
Gratitude is not necessary.
However, I went to the Xenogears study guide, and it said it is a misspelling of arc and ciel, the French word for rainbow.
Oh.
Initializing fake net.
It is pronounced arc-en-ciel.
Well, that's kind of nice, too.
Yeah.
There have been a couple of French words in here. Vierge.
Yes. Some more that we can't think of, because it's when you're on the spot, it's hard to think of these things.
No, Billy's friend, what was his name? Verlaine was a French poet.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So thank you, France. Also, thank you to our French listeners, because there are some out there.
Awesome.
Nous vous aimons tant.
So anyway, the Thames was getting owned by the fishbowl thing in the sky.
And the Reapers had dropped.
The Reapers had dropped.
Or the Wells, whatever. Same thing.
Whatever. Krellian has descended with lasers, and the party... Oh, well, and also, shit's still bad because Faye's still asleep.
Yeah, Faye's been asleep for way longer than I remember.
Yeah.
And not just because I play this game for 2.5 hours every week, and that's it for 4 weeks. He's been out for like a month.
I like sequences where you lose your main character for a little bit for 2 reasons. First of all, it gives you a different sort of angle on the story.
Yeah.
And second of all, it gives you more flexibility with your party, because traditionally you have to have like Chrono in your party, or for this game, Faye in your party is a mandatory character. So since that point, we've had a little bit of flexibility to play around with our configuration of Confederates.
Do you get any latent anxiety from worrying if Faye's levels are going to fall behind?
Not really in this game. The leveling isn't too grindy in this game, I don't think.
Okay. I was just curious because this time I made good on my promise to fight things for 600 gold and go get that ether doubler.
Oh, yeah.
And I got a lot of levels. All my guys are like 48, 49, 50. And I think we left Faye in his 30s somewhere. So.
Yeah, I think my guys are still in their low 40s after the sequence.
Yeah.
So, anything else bad going on right now? I mean, Billy his whole world is shattered.
Yeah, his world actually continues to shatter in this chapter, which is pretty good. Elly's kind of been idling along.
Yeah, and Rico's just there.
Yeah, Rico's hanging out.
And Bart's trying to piece it together. I think when this last chapter ended, we were on the bridge of the Yggdrasil, and Fuse was playing, like, because we were seeing all of the lasers rain down, and everybody was worried about the Thames. But it actually does give you an opportunity to leave the bridge and go wander around for just a moment.
Yeah, this is when I left and drove back up to Nissan.
Oh, did you?
And it's funny, I went all the way north throughout those things, forgetting that the map is a globe, and I could have just gone left a little bit to get there.
Yeah, this is a globe. We are on a planet.
But I did some Yggdrasil, some wandering, some talking.
I went to the gear shop real quick to make sure my gears were all maxed out.
You got to refuel those things. Well, actually, when you get to the Yggdrasil, if you're driving it in the water and you hit square to go back, it heals all of your shit. Mm-hmm. But you should still check for parts and updates. Yeah, and stuff I went
back there. I talked to a guy in the gear shop, and he referenced like the death that was had in the desert, like way back when.
Oh shit, he's still recovering.
Well, no, he said that he misses General Maitreya, Falcon, and Farrant.
Oh man, Maitreya.
He says he's gone, and they are gone, and he misses them, and he's very sad.
That's nice. We can only hope that somebody in the bunk will talk about Larry and his Mary.
Yeah, damn, Larry and his Mary. I miss that guy. Chu-Chu is still around, by the way.
Yeah, Chu-Chu's hanging out in that room, isn't she? Her.
Chu-Chu says, Stone was a baddie? I'll never be able to forgive him. So, I have a question about this comment of Chu-Chu. Are you okay? You look flustered.
Well, the Chu-Chu thing, it had to be a delight for whoever wrote this, but whenever it's fine.
Okay, so here's my question. Does Chu-Chu have a psychic connection to our party? And that's how she knows like what's going on with Stone and everything? Or is Chu-Chu like working the phones and like talking to people and trying to figure out things like checking the rumor mills and whatnot while we're gone?
This could be kind of sexist, but I definitely picture Margie as a gossip. Mm-hmm. And if she has a sentient stuffed animal in her room and nobody else to talk to, and she stays in her room all the fucking time.
Okay.
She never leaves her room.
She's important after all.
Yeah, she has to discuss this with somebody. Primera doesn't talk back. The Penguin, as far as we know, doesn't talk. Got to be telling Chu-Chu this stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So she probably walks back in all flustered. You will not believe what happened. And then Chu-Chu just sits there like not blinking, staring.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and Margie actually has a comment too.
Oh.
Did you have Margie's comment?
No, I had Chu-Chu's, but not Margie's.
Margie said, it is not permissible to use religion for wrongdoing. Which I agree with.
Yeah.
But it's just a weird thing to say.
Yeah, it's kind of the only thing you use religion for.
Yeah, these days. I mean, as far as we know, the Nissan sect has no dark history.
Oh yeah, no, there's nothing weird in those books that we weren't able to look at. Definitely not.
Shit, yeah, that's true.
Before we get to the doctor comment, which I know we're probably both sitting on, I went and visited Rico and Hammer in their room for a little while.
Oh.
And they didn't say anything unique, but I did notice there's a picture of the Yggdrasil in their room.
Yeah, I noticed that.
That's
recently.
fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, do you have a picture of your house in your house? Like how great it is, like the best day it looked with all of your Christmas decorations or Halloween decorations, like your house's best day.
Do you have a picture of your house in your house? Yes. No, I don't.
Like your car in your car, like stuff like that. It's just kind of a weird thing.
Maybe it's the Yggdrasil 1.
Oh, we know it. Yeah.
We're remember. I mean, it was probably there before though.
But yeah, you could probably go down and, I mean, you can access that room before Rico and Hammer stay in it, but that's a good, this is what it used to be like.
Yeah. So yeah, the nurse.
Yeah.
We talked, if we cannot visit the doctor's room because, I think I mentioned this last time, but they are attending to the Shavat prisoner. And the nurse is extremely excited to tell us that no visitors are allowed. And she has always wanted to say that.
Yeah. It's like she enjoys kicking people out of a room.
Yeah.
But she never has the opportunity because she's the nurse and if you're hurt, you got to go in there, right?
Sure. I mean.
So we do assume that all their medical services are shut off on the ship right now?
Perhaps, I guess.
If you have like a gushing head wound, maybe she'll treat you in none of the other rooms because they're all occupied now.
No,
I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen him down there yet, but I would assume Billy stays in one of the rooms next to Hammer and Rico at the bottom, right?
Billy is, at this point in time, Billy is hanging out in the gun room. Because I did not have Billy in my party at this time when I was wandering around, and I had not really fully decided on who I was going to take with me. And I went and talked to Billy. And Billy said, Billy says that he wants to join the journey with us and find out the truth about his world. And once Billy said that, I was like, you know what, Billy? Mm-hmm. I think you should come along, Billy.
Yeah.
So then I went back to Margie and switched Billy into my party at this point.
So do you think they give Billy a room, or do you think no one actually says anything? He's too polite to ask and just hangs out in a corner in the gun room.
I don't know if night has actually fallen since Billy has joined us.
Well, yeah, but he's got to take all of his shit with him, right? I mean, I don't see any bags on Hammer or Rico, but you have to assume they have possessions.
Yeah, that's true. They're kind of in the middle of some shit right now, so maybe he hasn't had time to ask for it.
Sure, so he's just hanging out in this corner. Please.
Jesse's also in the gun room.
Oh, yeah. He's coming along.
He's coming along with us. He says, this just goes to show that a kid needs his parents around him all the time.
Hell yeah.
So not only is Jesse a deadbeat, he's also a helicopter dad.
Yeah.
He's living both lives, I guess.
mean, he's winning. Primera prefers him to Billy.
True, yeah. Anything else before we go back to the bridge?
Well, we forgot to say the chapter title and make you pick out what the true chapter title is.
Oh, yes. The true chapter. The true
Chapel.
chapter.
Chapel.
The Chapel. Chapter name is Ocean Floor. And what is it in the Japanese according to the Xenogears study guide?
Well, this time I'll make you pick between 4.
Oh, dear.
Because I just thought of a new one.
I was actually going on there the other day to check some if there's any translation goofs on here, and I almost accidentally read through these, and I was like, wait, that would ruin the game.
Yeah, you'd forget. Ruin the game. Okay, so is Ocean Floor actually called The Ruins Under the Ocean?
Okay.
Under the Sea?
Okay.
The Secret Beneath? Or She Who Sleeps Beneath the Waves?
Ooh, wow. I like She Who Sleeps Beneath the Waves the best, but I'm going to guess that it's Under the Sea, and they changed it because they did not want to be a copy of The Little Mermaid.
It was The Ruins Under the Ocean.
Oh, okay, well, that one works too.
She Who Sleeps Beneath the Waves is a description of Cthulhu.
Oh.
Only he.
Is racist?
H.P. Lovecraft definitely was racist.
Okay.
Most of his fear came from fear of the other being dark-skinned men.
Oh, well, that's not good.
No.
You shouldn't do that, HP, if you're listening.
Hit points Lovecraft.
So, congrats. To not me this time, because I didn't get it right. When you're on the bridge, are you ready to continue?
Yeah.
Ocean floor. Yeah, we are heading to the ocean floor, apparently. But not because we're going to get owned and get sunk to the ocean floor, because we're going some places. First things first is that the Thames was under attack, so we are worried about them, especially Bart. Bart is especially worried about his bro, his dad, his guy, the captain.
His dad. I mean, yeah, that thing got hit by sky lasers from like the most elite airship on the planet. Of course it's going to be messed up, right?
Yes, exactly. So we sail to the Thames and we dock there. And everything seems kind of fine when we get there. I thought this was immediately going to take us into a battle scene or something. But you dock and you walk up and you're just on the deck.
Yeah, it seems fine.
When you go up the screw elevator, that drunk guy is still there. And it feels like with all the things that have transpired on the Thames in quite some time, perhaps maybe somebody should have got him out of there and told him to stop drinking.
I thought about that because you tweeted that earlier.
Yeah.
Here's 3 potential scenarios here.
Okay.
1, he is the doorman, and that's just what he does.
He just drinks and gets dizzy?
Yeah, like we are literate. We can see where all of the floors take us.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people on the Thames, probably not literate. He can probably provide information. Second scenario is there's a lot of drunk guys wandering around. It's not anyone's job to corral these motherfuckers. He's not hurting anybody. Let him stay here.
Okay.
And the third is he's like a warning not to drink to other people.
Oh, yeah.
Because all the other drunks are fairly mobile, right? Like there's the guy on the bridge where people are trying to sail and he's just bopping around with his bottle, right? Yeah. So this guy is the only person who's immobile. Like this is an example of what you don't do, how to not handle yourself.
True.
Plus, you know what? You don't even have to take the screw elevator. You can get to everywhere on the Thames from other rooms. You can proceed from the top down to the supply room, down to the beer hall, down to the bridge, down to the doctor's office. You can go everywhere just by walking there, I think.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. The first place I went was straight up to the deck, and you can talk to those gears that are wandering around. Did you talk to those guys?
I did not.
One of them tells us that the Reapers have been held off.
Okay, I wondered what happened with that.
And there's a typo in this sentence, and it makes it funny. Not my typo, but a typo in the game.
You say so.
The gear says, "It's the biggest mistake they'll ever make if they miss with a beefcake like me." I guess they meant to say mess with a beefcake.
Mess with a beefcake like me. Miss Beefcake is his name now.
So other than that, there's not much going on the deck. The next place I went was sick bay. Have you been to?
Yeah.
You have notes on the sick bay?
I went to the doctor's office. All I have is he said that big fishbowl thing wrecked them. And I like how Fishbowl Thing has been the adopted title of the incident.
Also on sickbay, there's a pink dolphin.
What?
Named Anna.
A dolphin person?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, a Franz.
Oh, wow.
You have to kind of walk around the corner.
Yeah, I didn't do. I just kind of walked in, talked to the doc.
She tells us that her husband was eaten by whales.
Man, I was working on a theory that there's only one of every kind of animal that escaped. Except for Hans and Franz, they were twins. But if there's a pink dolphin, that kind of wrecks that whole theory.
Guess what makes this worse? She has 2 children.
Jesus.
Her kid Lance wants to know why we're picking... Yes, Lance. Lance wants to know why we're picking on his mom.
Uh-huh.
The other one, Kana, is sad about his dad.
Forgive me for asking perhaps an obvious question, but are the children also dolphins?
Yes, they are dolphins. They are just smaller versions.
Are they tiny? Oh, that's so good.
Yes.
Hell yes.
Yes, one is the exact same palette as Franz, I think. And the other one, I think, is just a little bit of a different shade.
We'll have to go back and visit them, assuming the Thames is still standing when we get back.
Yes. There's also, remember the kid that was talking about the wind howling or something, saying something very ominous? I have a fan theory that is the Shayla from the Chrono series.
Oh, wow.
In this world. Because this time she says that the sea is weeping.
That's
so,
poetic. Yeah.
So there's just always these kind of...
musing children.
Yes, musing children is a thing that happens a lot in at least a couple of noteworthy times in the Chrono series, and so that's why I'm aligning it here. So that's all I have there, but I think we forgot to point something out. Who did you bring with you?
I took Billy with me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're still in his arc and he'd have neat things to say.
Yeah, agreed.
And I know we have a universal pact not to take Sight anywhere because he sucks.
You have to here, though.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, you have no choice.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna start taking him along for devil's advocate purpose, and because I want to see what kind of devious shit he says.
Oh, yeah.
So I do not endorse a Sight party. I'm doing it for the podcast.
Yes. Also, he's a good character in the game.
Yeah, he's really good.
So
he beats ass and he's real fast.
Yeah. Well, I have Sighton, I have Bart, and I have Billy as well.
Elly was my third.
Okay, so we'll have a couple of different.
Nobody picked Rico.
I think there is at least one Let's Play on YouTube where they picked Rico, so we can.
He just says nothing the entire time.
Probably not.
Get it. You don't appreciate a trendsetter, I resignate.
Next, I went to the beer hall.
Yes, that's where I went next.
One guy says that they got beat by the Wells because they're such wimpy drinkers.
Yeah, sloppy drunks were the reason they were beaten.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if that means they should have been more or less intoxicated.
Yeah. Do you remember the lady that used to talk shit about men because they drink so much?
Yeah.
Did you see what she says now?
No.
And she used to say, men are so dumb with all that crap, talking about drinking. Now she says, men are so weak. They try to forget about their fear of the Reapers with that crap. Which is kind of it just kind of added a couple of extra nouns to her line, but I appreciate the attentiveness to the detail of this particular NPC's dialogue.
She's assigning the weakness of men to a particular instance and not just general nature of humanity. That's pretty good.
Yeah, they drink to forget.
Initializing fake net.
Neither of the boys noticed that not fearing the Reaper is likely a reference to Blue Oyster Cult's song, "Don't fear, the Reaper," more commonly known as the Cowbell Song.
I do like how a lot of the characters have new dialogue based on the circumstances that just happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the drunks that probably didn't even know it was happening, like they understand that something went down.
No, those drunks were definitely out there fighting. Because drunks tend to run to fights.
Drunks love to fight.
Yeah. I mean,
they already have a weapon with them usually.
True.
That's all I had for that until I got to the
empty beer bottles are going to be better than the big gun after all.
Yeah, you can fuck somebody up with the beer. I assume they're not wearing like armor or Solaris gear or some shit. I bet Wells cut open real quick too. They don't have like tough skin. I bet it's just real thin like paper.
I do have one thing before we go to the bridge. Actually, I took Billy to face off with Queenie.
Oh, very good.
Because I have not beat Queenie yet.
Right.
I beat Queenie.
Congratulations, Chris.
With Billy.
With pausing or straight up?
Pausing.
Okay.
Yeah. Pausing. But it was mostly luck. If Billy wins, he says,
"Open your heart to the light and God will be with you."
If Billy loses, he says,
"Oh Lord, please forgive these sinners."
Was this dialogue supposed to be used in the combat system a lot more? Because it seems like they recorded a lot of lines, a lot of voice lines to be used not in the anime sequences, but like
they're only used in the speed game.
It seems like they're only used in the speed game or when Bart calls Ramses a jerk.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other times when these lines were used.
I can't either.
It's weird.
We haven't experienced that so far, but it is weird to have voice dialogue for each character with unique actors.
It sounds like maybe they were going to use them like during death blows or for taunts or during the battle victory sequences or something of that nature.
Yeah,
but
it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like some fanfare. With the remaining anime, the only one that I remember, it just has maybe Faye and Elly in it. Like, I don't know if we ever see Rico or Billy. You know how when you see like a Muppet's legs for the first, or like Cookie Monster's legs for the first time, you're like, what the fuck is that? Like whenever I see Billy and Bart with human proportions, it always looks strange. Like he shouldn't be 6'1" or whatever. He looks like he's 4'5".
Yeah, that's sort of the downside of the anime is the anime is drawn a little bit differently than we're used to seeing the characters in the game. And not only in the game, but in the concept art, in the manual and stuff
Persona
like that.
5 even does that too.
Yeah.
They look different depending on the style.
I don't think as much, they don't look as different. They're not as differently proportioned as they are maybe in this game.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying there's noticeable friction there between depictions.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as Final Fantasy VII that had 3 different models for each character, for each
there was a lot
models,
of different stuff there. Yeah.
It's bad stuff.
So we get to the bridge and the captain addresses Seitan by name, which, I mean, they've met before, but he's like, "Hey, Seitan, what's up?" You know? And he wonders if Seitan is there because he was worried. And Seitan says, "You could say that." And with Citan saying you could say that when it's like, hey Eric, were you worried about me? And if you were to say back to me, oh, you could say that.
You could say that.
You're not really worried about me. You're really there for another reason. Like Citan is there because of his curiosity in terms of how this impacts his scenario. Correct?
But the captain had a little bit of malice towards Citan. Like Citan says to Thames is in better shape than they expected. And the captain says, of course, we are men of the sea. Is what I'd like to say, but the truth is that was pretty bad. Lots of fatalities and injuries.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really good twist.
The captain gets one off right there. Yeah.
But then he gets testy with Citan and he says, and by the way, Citan, what the hell is up with that fishbowl thing? It came out of nowhere and kicked our butts and left behind wells. So the captain knows that Citan has answers. And is Citan planning on providing any answers?
The captain does say that they think that it was heading towards the excavation site. Yeah. The Ethos excavation site.
Didn't the Reapers wander off toward that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And Citan says, just as I thought. So he knows exactly where things are heading. Like, it's very clear in this game that all parties, maybe not all parties, but many parties in this video game are all heading towards this one site.
Yeah.
And we're just now finding that out, even though we are traveling with a guy who already knew that.
Yeah, we're finding out last. Well, he already knew that, but he definitely wanted us to get there last.
Good point. Because if he already knew that, then why would we even go check out?
We wouldn't even stop on the Thames.
Because he's not worried about the Thames. Bart is, obviously, but Bart doesn't really speak up here in my experience.
Oh, I was going to say, did Bart have anything to say about the chaos and destruction?
I didn't pick up on any unique dialogue here.
I don't know if anyone on the Thames knew that Elly sabotaged the Yggdrasil. I think that was all like a localized thing. Because she kind of showed up at the Thames like all in a daze and stuff. And
that's true. The captain also says they saw a huge gear-like monster, and Citan thinks that was probably Stone in his French rainbow or whatever.
Yes, his French rainbow, of course.
And the captain has used his salvager's intuition to decide not to go closer to the fishbowl and the dig site. And the captain asks, "Is the fishbowl the enemy?" And you know what Citan says?
What does he say?
You could say that. And it is very likely that the fishbowl is not Citan's enemy if we are still positioning Citan as somebody that we do not trust. We know he is from Solaris. The fishbowl is from Solaris, quite obviously. So is it his enemy?
It's a possibility.
It's not his enemy. I don't trust him. I don't think that the fish... I think that Citan and Krillin at this point in time, in terms of how I'm reading this, during this playthrough, Citan is definitely on at least a similar side as...
So you can link that with Citan having direct contact with Kane in the JPEG room.
Yes.
Kane being mentioned and then talking to the Gazel Ministry, and Krellian being mentioned in reports by the Gazel Ministry. There's a connection you can draw, minimum 2 lines between all those characters.
Yeah. If you're paying close attention, you can kind of start to draw those together right now.
Did you talk to Falco on the bridge?
I don't think so.
He told us that the wells came from Babel Tower.
He's told us that before, but I think maybe... I think maybe he mentioned that at one point.
He mentioned Babel Tower existed. Now he positioned that. The drunk wandering around never noticed the wells. And Franz, in a mark of pure professionalism, just calls it the fishbowl. He doesn't call it the fishbowl thing. He doesn't have time for that nonsense.
Franz does not have... Hans.
Sure.
Franz is our boy.
Yeah, Hans is
the professional of the Thames. Yeah. Buzzer sound. Okay. Anything else?
That's all I've got.
I got that Death Blower 1 before I left. And
who'd you put that on?
I forgot to put it on somebody.
Nice.
So thank you for reminding me.
Part 1.
Yes.
Very good.
We haven't had any gear. That's specifically a gear item, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I haven't had any gear battles.
It opens up you didn't spend 2.5 hours getting money?
No,
Weird.
Because I cheated.
Yes.
Save point noise. Now we are going to the Ethos Dig Site.
Right, which is a small square building on the edge of an island near the Akavi archipelago.
Before, there was a Ethos dude out here telling us to get out of here.
He's like, fuck off.
Yeah, and now there's no one here, at least not at the top of the stairs. And when you go inside, Billy asks Citan something. And Citan says something completely incomprehensible about the Solaris army. And my first thought was, Billy does not need another Citan in his life.
Yeah, he's already
got one. And in fact, when I was going back to check on something on a Let's Play on YouTube, I saw that person had Rico with them, and Rico said something here. They didn't have Billy. Rico said something, not anything that mattered, but Citan's response to Rico was the exact same response as he had to Billy.
Which was the main Solaris army, all this, and then that's it.
Yeah. And then Rico said something, and then they moved on. So I guess they were just adding quips there.
Yeah, we take a massive elevator all the way down.
Yeah, this is a pretty good elevator. It's a long, sort of diagonal elevator that goes down deep into the earth.
Whenever you get on elevators in action games or RPGs, you always assume there's going to be some kind of fighting gauntlet.
Yeah.
But there wasn't in this case.
I think we hadn't had no elevator fighting gauntlets in this game, I don't think. I think it's important to note here that there's no music in this place.
No, there's like a vague ringing machine slapping sounds in the background.
There's a distant, like, echoey kind of banging sound.
Yeah.
Do you remember that scene in Evangelion where Shinji had to go give the ID card back to Rei, and then that...
in the fucked up part of town?
Yeah. And then that ensued that awkward scene. There's a sort of a industrial banging noise in the background as Shinji's walking through that area, and it gets kind of louder and more echoier as the tension ramps up in that scene. That doesn't happen here, but that sound is almost exactly the same sound as that was in Evangelion.
It stood out there because it was an outdoor part that replaced cicadas and power lines with industrial clanging.
Yeah, it was good sound design in that anime. I think it works here too, especially for some reasons that we can talk about later. At the bottom of the elevator, it's a Gevler geek.
Yes, Gevler guards. Not the Proud Boy Gevler geek.
No, just a random
soldier.
Grunt, stormtrooper looking ass.
We get into a bunch of non-random battles with them. They're wearing brown, kind of nondescript. They don't have like the cool uniforms that the Elements have or that Elly or Ramses has. They have, it's definitely, this is your entry-level job. Guard this fucking post. Here, have this laser gun.
We've never really talked about the battle celebration animations in this game, but with the party I took down here, there's a really good contrast in terms of what they're doing. Because you know how in like the older Final Fantasy games, they all kind of have the same little fanfare dance?
Yeah.
I love the contrast between my three characters here because Citan flips his braid behind his shoulder like a fucking asshole.
Right.
Billy gets on his knees and prays.
Prays, of course.
And Bart gives a huge flexing thumbs up.
Hell yeah, he does.
It's just a great contrast of character personalities. And I appreciate how much energy went into animating these.
They did a really good
images.
job with those. What Faye has, the raising one fist in the air and kind of jumping.
Yeah, he kind of fist pumps in the air.
Elly kind of straightens out like her uniform and stands. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and I have no idea what Rico does.
Probably flexes and forgets what he's doing.
Yep.
Initializing fake net.
It's not that good. Rico just raises his right arm into the air.
So at some point when you transition from one door to another, we cut to a scene.
Vague underwater sequence.
A what the fuck scene, I think.
Yeah, pretty good. I forgot all about this.
Yeah.
There's unique underwater rummaging and bubbling noises. But who's down here?
Well, it's Grahf, and he's actually inside of his gear and not riding on his shoulder.
But the gear is still doing the cool-ass Grahf gear pose.
Yes.
Even under the sea, however long meters down this is.
I keep reading my next note about Miang radioing in to Grahf, and I keep reading it as Miang ratioing Grahf, which maybe
at some point, sometime soon.
Yeah. So what happens here?
It's funny. Grahf never says anything. Miang radios in and says, "Did you notice? His gear is reawakening. Soon he himself will awaken also. His friends are heading for Zeboim. It's been sealed up for 4,000 years. You know there better than I do. He probably won't give anyone anything. But it's something we both need. You know what I mean? So please."
You know what I mean, Vern?
It's a hard sell.
It is a hard sell. Is she approximating that Faye is like bound to wake up and go on a bender again? Is that what she's
I think that's what she's projecting here. Is there something down there that'll be a catalyst and activate that? And don't think I missed your Ernest P. Warhol reference a second ago.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so she also says that his friends are heading for Zeboim. That's us. We are heading for Zeboim, allegedly.
Do we know
apparently.
that?
I think we know that.
Okay.
I mean,
where the fuck else? Yeah, it's gotta...
Not only does Miang explicitly say that, but we know that we're heading towards ruins anyway.
Synchronicity.
I think now it is a time for a Zeboim etymology conversation.
Excellent.
A quick one. Zeboim is likely a biblical reference to a destroyed city of the same name. Zeboim is referenced several times as several different cities in the Bible, but the most likely read here is it's one of the 5 cities of the plain of Sodom. If you're not familiar with the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, I believe it's from Genesis or one of the other earlier parts of the Bible.
The Pentateuch.
Thank you. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy.
Nailed it.
Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed by God with fire and brimstone.
Right.
Basically because the cities were full of assholes and sinners and whatnot.
Right. People doing sinful things according to the eyes of God.
So, are we heading towards a ruin? that was destroyed by God? Maybe.
For doing sins?
I don't know. For doing sins? Perhaps. Maybe. Who knows?
Well, I didn't see a foreskin pile down there, so it's hard to say what kind of justice was administered.
They may have incinerated within the carnage. But guess what? We flash back to a party and they're on a bridge overlooking a ruin.
Well, hang on. Grahf says nothing and lifts off. I just think it's funny.
Oh, yeah. I also wrote down Grahf says nothing.
Yeah, he didn't say shit. And then he just his gear doesn't raise its arms. It just cross poses and then shuttles. Why do you have to go down there and talk to Miang? I have no idea. Could they not intercept transmissions down there?
Is he just out there waiting?
Yeah, probably. Maybe he's monitoring, but
he's always got some shit to say.
Yeah.
He's always got some shit to say. So
maybe he's tired of listening to Miang.
Either that or he's not saying anything for a specific reason.
Yeah.
He's
holding his cards.
Yeah, he's got no other. Well, I mean, exactly. He's got no other cards to play. He's got no moves left. He's just waiting for his scenario to unfold. Are we in Grahf's scenario? Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
He's like, all the chips are in. I'm just waiting to see what hand you have. We'll find out, I guess. But yeah, we flash back to our party and we're on this pretty cool bridge that's overlooking a bitmap of a ancient ruined city.
The first, it is a bitmap.
Yeah, it's a good ass looking.
It's very detailed. There's all kinds of buildings. It doesn't look like it was destroyed in some kind of accident. It all looks fairly intact down there. Bronze, cool looking zoom out shot.
Yeah, it's really cool looking.
There's some wind noises, but only in this glass hallway.
Bart notices. He wonders if the city is also a ruin, when obviously it's a ruin because there's nothing there.
Bart.
Yeah.
Well, there's no people there, but it's a city.
The quiet continues here. We're not introduced to any music. We still have the wind swirling and just some of the banging noises and stuff. And it feels like, especially when you're walking over a bridge, maybe it's the effectiveness of a RPG bridge crossing sequence with no battles. I felt like there was a lot of tension building right here.
Yeah, it's like a weird, anxious sense of isolation, knowing that you're about to unlock some secrets, because look at all that shit down there. That's a big secret.
It definitely feels like it's the next seminal moment of this game.
Yeah. And someone really thought about this glass hallway.
Yeah, we're getting there, and it kind of came out of nowhere because we were sort of in the middle of Billy's subplot, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, maybe we're heading towards something that's going to give us some answers.
Billy's subplot is all of our plots.
Yeah, that is true.
Billy's the great unifier. Red rum to here.
It's true. Wow, I didn't think about that. That made me start reflecting upon the other seminal moments in this video game and the contrast between this one versus the other ones. The other ones came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The first one being, in my opinion at least, the first one being Grahf being on the mountain spire, his first appearance in the middle of the desert. The second one being the red gear appearing and fucking our shit up.
With that music.
Those are some of the more memorable moments in the game. I think this is maybe one of the next ones. And the way it builds slowly, because we're about to go through a lot of hallways and a lot of staircases and a lot of random battles. It's slowly building to a moment in which I think we're going to have to spend a lot of time talking about. But
confrontations and answers. So I had Elly with me in this one, and I got a weird conversation between her and Sidon that I don't know if that's aimless foreshadowing or bad localization. Elly sees this city, and she calls it the Cavern City Zeboim, when we were buried in the vast mausoleum. And Sidon says, Elly, what is wrong? And Elly says, huh? Did I just say that? And Sidon says, let's move ahead.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know.
Is she doing the same shit that Faye did when he knew Elly's name, way back when, where some shit's unlocking?
Yeah, I don't know if she's having generational flashbacks, or as we'll learn later, she may have already been here.
Yeah, that's true. That's really interesting.
They also note how well preserved everything is. Billy wonders if it was a hospital, which I guess you got that dialogue as well.
I'm not sure if I did or not.
Side notes that there's scanning equipment everywhere.
So now it's time to go through the dungeon,
yes,
so to speak.
Bunch of hallways, some dead ends. Fairly linear, though.
These are different assets than what we've seen before,
yes,
right?
They are different future hallways.
It's still kind of warehousey looking and feeling, but I think that it's right on point with kind of what we've been seeing. Although the traversal here takes a little bit longer, I think, than some of the other areas.
If you think about it long enough in your head, you can maybe assign that this is what inspired Solaris' design.
Yeah, good point.
For the way the planet, if this is 4,000 years old, then perhaps that's what happened here, considering the Solaris Shavat Wars were 500 years ago. Also,
you get some battles down here.
Yeah, we got some random battles.
How about some hammerhead shark dudes?
God, the hammerheads are there. They're EP thieves. They also drop eggs and kick them at you.
There's also some shell bells here, which we saw on the Reaper ship. I don't know if we should read anything through that.
Yeah, that is weird, right? I mean, with the things that are down here, well, let's get through the rest of them first. Did you fight any carriers?
Those aren't until much later, but yes, they're like little fucking dinosaurs with combos.
Yeah, little red gremlin things that breathe accuracy reduction gas.
Yeah, I actually take that back. They may appear at any point, but I remember specifically those appearing on the ladder
like the
floors.
second floors.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've only got one more. Do you have any more?
No, go ahead.
Phobia?
Oh, yeah. It's like heal me.
Yeah.
What is the appearance of it? I don't really remember.
It is a tentacle maiden wearing multiple dresses. It keeps talking about healing. And guess what you do? You heal it and it dies.
Wow. What if you don't? I guess you have sight, and so you have to have somebody.
I attacked it, and it. Well, if you use healing items, it also kills them.
Oh, okay.
But I attack it. Whenever you attack it, it just heals it. So it's begging for death. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I also have a note about one of Bart's death blows here.
Mm-hmm.
I have a death blow called Astral. And I just want to talk about how weird it is because he uses his whip as an IV to pipe in ether power to explode the enemy. And
Wow.
Yeah, he latches the whip onto the enemy and it shoots in a bunch of magic, and then the sprite mode 7 bloats up.
Yeah.
And explodes
and shit.
And then it's kind of weird, and I just enjoyed that animation very much.
Yeah, that's like a Mortal Kombat fatality almost.
It was silly.
Some gluttonous fatality.
Fatality.
So yeah, after you get a little bit further in, Citan starts talking about some restrictive air ducts that are not operational.
Yeah.
And Bart says something weird here. He assumes that means there's poison gas or reactive fuel.
That's a very pirate thing. They're going to fucking poison us. That's what it's for.
I just don't know where Bart got that knowledge.
Because that's happened to him. He's been on some kind of adventure where poison gas has been piped through the room and he's had to get the hell out of there.
Good point. Did you get anything with your characters in that scene?
Was this in the first terminal room?
I think so.
Possibly. If that's there's a room off to the side where there's a bunch of computer shit. And when I went there, Citan deliberately asked Elly if she remembers anything. And Elly said, yes, this is terrible, lonely, and familiar.
Wow.
And then the terminal says emergency level 5 and the central reactor is isolated. All database access is denied.
Cool.
I think there's also a sleep guard in this room. Did you pick that up?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Prevents you from falling asleep, which with the shell bells floating around is pretty good.
That would be nice. So yeah, there's a couple, actually, I wouldn't say a couple. There's a lot of non-random Gebler geek battles along the way here. And you find a lab where it says access is denied. At some point when you get really deep in the area, this might be the same part where the Elly conversation occurs. He just says, this is one weird building. And then he babbles a bit more and says, looks ruined now, like some empty and hollow dream. And I'm like, damn, Bart, you tried really hard to be deep here, buddy, but thank you for adding that. Even though you added nothing, I love you.
I had a similar hard swing from Billy. He notes that they're in a labyrinth and he says, it's not designed to keep something out, but to keep something in.
Oh, actually, in this is the same conversation because Citan responds to Bart's little weird hollow dream quip and says, labyrinths are made to seal something out inside them. And then Bart says, cripes.
Oh man, cripes. Bart does not strike me as a cripes.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
Did you get the black snake out of the separate second terminal room?
I did, and I gave it to my friend Bart.
That's right. So I think this is his first weapon that doesn't rhyme.
Maybe so. It does ether down, or ether defense down.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So it was pretty nice. It would have been even nicer if I was paired with Elly and an ether doubler, but I was not. Also, I have another fun death blow thing.
Okay.
Billy learned a move called Skywalker. I wonder what Skywalker is referencing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it literally is a skywalking. Doesn't he slide underneath them and shoot them up with his pistols?
It is a Dante-ass move.
Yeah, dude.
Where he kicks the guy into the air and juggles him with his guns.
Stylish action.
Yeah. So, what year did Devil May Cry come out after this?
2001.
Initializing fake net.
2 years and 10 months.
So is Billy the inspiration for Dante?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's canon?
Something we didn't note earlier, or we talked about Billy's clothes last time, but one of either his ether gun or his big gun is mounted inside of his trench coat.
Oh,
he pulls his coat open and it's already there. Like he's prepared for this shit.
I kind of like it. Is that the one that
it's like
swings?
A swing? Yeah, like some El Mariachi shit.
That's neat.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Billy fucking rules.
His I want to say his pistol might also be true gun kata shit where he flings out his arm and it just comes out of his sleeve.
Ejects from his sleeve. Wow. Yeah. Gosh. I don't think I ever appreciated Billy enough. And now I'm going to become both a Bart and a Billy appreciator.
Like the last three characters, I remember just kind of writing off okay, another one, great. But Billy's proven himself big time.
So, yeah, are we ready to get to the bottom, the very bottom?
Yeah, we get to that stereo terminal room, says there's an emergency button inside the reactor, must be activated, so we have to go all the way back up.
Hold on a second.
All right.
The emergency button inside the reactor was activated 34,999 hours ago.
And said from this point on, there's a danger of nanocontamination.
Now, Eric, do you know how long 34,999 hours is?
It's 1,458,333 days. How many years is that?
That would be 3,995.43 years.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Hey, I'm glad that we both independently did the math for the podcast, even though we did not discuss doing the math. I'm sorry for not alerting you to the fact that I've already done the math.
No, it worked out. We bounced back.
Yeah,
It was a good sequence.
It worked great. So yeah, you got to run back up and backtrack a little
your classic flip the switch.
Yeah.
Idiot. It's like, I was already here. Can I just push this button earlier? Thanks.
Yeah, sure.
5 more random battles. There's a save point right up there too.
Yeah. Thank you, save point. Chapter's not over, by the way.
Nope.
We're in for some shit. You need another drink. So then you eventually get to an active terminal. Is that correct?
Yes.
Citan says it is well hidden in the data gaps. And then he eventually pieces some stuff together and it says, "Flee with my own will." And then Citan says, "Is this a wild computer?" Which is...
I don't remember getting any of this. Elly was manning the computer for me.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. Because she was kind of having some breakdown stuff.
Okay, so I'll go through mine.
All right.
So yeah, Citan says, is this a wild computer? No. It's a structural record of life. No, not that. An organism. So it appears Citan has found some sort of biomechanical thing somewhere within this labyrinth.
In my sequence, I could be wrong with this, but I think Elly was behind the computer and she said, "Blood, covered in my blood. My blood. There was no pain, just coldness and sadness." Citan interrupts her, but Elly continues. She says, "She has been here all by herself for all this time." Then Elly storms out while Citan pretends not to know what the hell she's talking about. Elly eventually walks in this next room and says, "O vessel for a new soul, may the soul who resideth in you find peace."
Fuck.
Citan tells her not to do whatever she just did when she pushes a button, and then Elly has some kind of identity crisis. There's a noise, an item emerges from that tube. And it's what?
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened here for you? Who pressed all the buttons for all this shit?
No, I mean, Citan just went through and did some hacking and pressed a button, and then...
You know what? This makes sense, actually, with some theories we have.
Yeah. So the music starts playing.
Yes.
It's June Mermaid. and a ray tube emerges. In the next room, and there is if you're not familiar with the terminology ray tube, something that I just made up, it is what would you call it? A stasis tube and a naked girl inside of it?
You know what's funny? I wrote Bacta Tank.
Bacta Tank? What is that?
They put Luke Skywalker in to unfuck him up in Empire.
Yeah, or the healing tank on Frieza's ship.
Yeah. That thing.
Yeah, and then a girl appears in the middle of there, kind of floating nude in the like liquidy stuff.
Yeah, green hair.
I wrote down here, even Citan has no fucking clue what's going on here.
Maybe.
Even though in the Elly sequence that you just referenced, Citan appeared to be understanding what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the whole thing that you just said seems significant enough that, like, maybe they should have forced Elly to appear here.
Yeah, well, no, I think it works both ways, because part of Citan's scenario is to get Elly down here for her to do this shit, but if she's not here, Citan engages Plan B. He does this shit.
Okay.
Also, we didn't talk about our new song. It's June Mermaid.
Yeah.
Brand new song.
I said that a second ago.
I know.
Oh.
But we didn't talk about the song.
Oh, okay, yeah. What do you think?
It is a curious and pondering song that comes with feelings of, like, slow realization. It's kind of soft and anxious. To me, it was halfway between melodrama and the Chu-Chu music.
Yeah.
Where it was catchy and playful, but also, look at all this fucked up shit that's happening. It's another meditation song for this game. Something that I would be comfortable playing in the background while reading.
Yeah, I like this tune. It sets this up well, especially because there's a new thing appearing, or a new entity appearing. I'm assuming that our experiences with what happens when we approach the tube might be a little bit different, because I have some Bart stuff here.
It's a possibility.
Bart says, Citan, what is this? Not even rogue clusters could regenerate this fast.
Bart says that?
Yes. Do you know what a rogue cluster is?
Jesus, no.
It's like a dying star that's not part of a solar system. I Googled it. It's like an astronomy term.
Christ, good job.
Does Bart...
I don't think they have astronomy.
they still,
yeah.
I mean, but that's how they sail the deserts, right?
Yeah, but they don't have telescopes that can see, like, nebulas exploding.
Yeah, that's just fucked up. Yeah, that's just bad. I couldn't find any information about this particular line or what it was in Japanese. Probably these lines are probably going to be harder to find because they're optional. Because if you don't have Bart, you don't get this line.
Yeah, it was the localizer flexing his astronomy class. Billy noted that it had whatever was in that tube just changed into human form.
Yeah, Citan says that. I guess Billy didn't talk for me, I don't think.
Oh, really? Maybe I got some extra lines.
Yeah, not at this point. Citan says that she's an artificial life form created inside the reactor.
Yes.
And then, anything else before the next thing?
He says her body is most likely.
And then, Stone bust in.
Classic villain entrance.
And he finishes the fucking sentence.
What's he say?
Constructed from autonomic machines on a molecular scale. In other words, a colony of nanomachines.
Nanomachines, son.
Son.
Nanomachines, son.
Jaws of Ice starts playing because Stone is here, and he's got a couple of cronies with him.
Yeah, some lackeys. This is the shit Kane was talking about in the Gazelle sequence that he was in, when he was talking about nanomachines with the fucking robot people.
So this is what they're after.
Because they said it was under Akavi, and that Kane thinks it's really important, and they're down here to get it.
Okay. So everyone is converging upon this, not just Kane, the Ministry, but also Grahf. We saw him under the ocean. Miang is also part of this, assuming that Ramses is just kind of hanging out in his Speedo and doesn't know what's going on right now, I guess.
Yeah, he's probably asleep. I bet that guy sleeps 10 hours a day. For me, I had Elly still behind the Bonta controls, and it was playing Forest of the Black Moon, so I don't know if we got different music too.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll have to check that.
Initializing fake net.
You fuckers, I don't even know what to do with this one. I'm going to play both songs at the same time.
Stone explains that this shit is basically the existence or key factor, M-factor, which God will guide us by to free humanity from its yoke.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I didn't know what
factor is in M-dashes.
I didn't know what yoke was, so I looked it up. Do you know what yoke means?
The middle of an egg.
No, that's yolk.
Shit. Yoke is a way of steering plane, or that's y'all. I don't know. What is it?
A yoke is a wooden beam normally used between a pair of oxen or other animals to enable to pull them together on a load when working in pairs.
Oh, lateral movement. Cool.
So yeah, basically he's saying that they're going to use this to initiate their scenario to free humanity from its current bounds.
Yeah.
It is the exact same shit that they are trying to do in Neon Genesis Evangelion, basically, I think,
yeah,
right?
Same plot.
Except
It's
for
catalyst.
in this case, this nanomachine colony, this girl with green hair is the key factor versus other things. So
Stone thanked Elly for me and said none of them were able to do this. That only she had the key to this shit.
She didn't have the key to this shit because she wasn't here for me.
Yeah, well, that's why Sidon did it. That's like it's a scenario B for you.
Yeah,
right?
I gotcha. Weird. Okay, that's interesting.
Stone didn't thank Sidon?
No, at this point, I have Stone addressing Billy. Do you have this?
Yes, go ahead.
Ah, brother Billy, you're here too. This makes matters simple. And then he goes on to tell Billy that this nanomachine colony needs to be in the hands of an honorable person.
Yes, because it is destined to be the salvation of humanity.
And Billy's like, well, buddy, you're not honorable.
You just did genocide, sir.
Son.
Sir.
Son.
Like Billy, I like Billy because he's not doubting himself.
Yeah, he's confident.
He's like, no, I'm right, and you're the fucker here. Like, I'm taking you down.
But Stone does the classic like cult leader thing where he says, you know, what's the problem that these people are not fit for salvation as far as justifying his genocide? He's like, well, they were fucked anyway. Fuck these people.
Yeah, and Billy, he's right. He's just. He thinks that everyone should have the right to dictate their own fate.
But then he hits Billy with a trolley problem.
Yeah?
He says Krellian can at least save some people and asks Billy if he can take the L for all of humankind if he fucks up. You're familiar with the trolley problem, correct?
No.
There's an out-of-control train. It's a British thing, so they call it trolleys.
Yeah.
And you have the power to change the train's course. On one course, it's going to kill 5 people. On one course, it's going to kill 1 person.
Yeah.
It's currently heading for 5 people. Do you move the switch to kill the 1 person instead, or do you let fate play as it is?
Gotcha. Yeah. And so I think he goes on to explain that, like, unlike the Ethos, the goal of them, which I guess is Solaris, is not the fucking robots. It's it's this.
He says they don't even want the ancient weapons.
This had nothing to do with excavating gears.
Yeah, do you believe that? I believe it, but also why not both?
Well, the gears were a means to this because they for some reason they needed there to be a war, I guess, to distract. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
Because they were also like Solaris was using Ethos as a means to tip the scales of the war and I guess kind of keep it going, or at least keep it at a active stalemate.
I mean, maybe they didn't know exactly that this is where this was, and they were doing the war stuff to maintain dig sites all over the planet to try and find it.
So can we break down the scenarios real quick?
Yeah.
We have the Solaris scenario, which we just discussed. The Grahf's and Miang scenarios, are they related, or do they want this for their own means, or are they just here as to, like, I don't quite understand where Miang is. I mean, we don't know who Miang's acting for at this point.
Even within Solaris, like Krellian and Kane and the Ministry may have different objectives.
That's true.
Like varying slightly. I don't know if they want the exact same things.
And so this is a catalyst. Is this nanomachine colony a catalyst to revive God, the God that was slumbering in the ocean, or is it a catalyst to return humans to God? Is this a all return to nothing thing, or what? Or we don't know. It's hard to say.
I mean, the whole planet is kind of barreling toward oblivion.
Yeah.
So,
and Kane had a lot to say about returning to paradise.
Yeah. So return to paradise is usually code for kill everyone somehow.
Yeah. True.
So perhaps he's just trying to use this as a means to accelerate it, possibly awaken God, and God takes vengeance.
Yeah. So Stone and his lackeys, they take the green-haired girl and they leave, and then he sends in some new folks.
We forgot to address that this whole time the camera angle was the majority of it was a child ass angle, which is really weird. Billy ends up by saying, I just know your deeds are not honorable. I cannot be part of what you are intent on doing, which no shit, Billy. And then Stone does a villain exit.
Yep.
It's a really cool sequence where 2 new characters are walking toward us in a hallway as Stone is walking away.
Yes, and Night of Fire starts as soon as they come in, so you know they're here to fight.
Yes. And Stone apologizes to them and says, sorry to have kept you ladies waiting.
Yeah. These ladies, they are elements. They are goofy, they are aloof. They are here on Ramses' orders, and they seem to be like the actual accessory ladies for Ramses. Like originally we thought like Miang was that, but these people seem to be obsessed with gaining the favor.
They're groupies.
Yes. Better way of saying it, yes, they're groupies. There are two of them. Their names are Tolone and Serephita.
Yeah, it's funny. The first piece of dialogue we have from them, Stone says it's time to do your job, elements, and they just say, which is very 90s.
Tolone. Is that what we're going to say that?
Yeah.
Tolone. In Japanese, it's thrones.
Yeah.
And that is also a class of angels, as we've seen with Dominia and Kelvana.
And Persona.
Yeah. Serephita in Japanese is representative of Seraph, which is also a order of angels. I think she might be a demi-human because she has bunny ears.
Yeah, it's funny. When I first played that game, I thought she just had ridiculous bangs, but they're actually rabbit ears folded over, indicating she's demi-human. She's also all pink with pink hair, high white collar, and her emerald in the middle of her neck is green.
Tolone, on the other hand, she has like grayish or whitish hair, and she has a bunch of these like
pigtails.
Pigtails with a bunch of like cybernetic implants on her face.
She is, I think 90% of her body is cyborg, meaning she barely has human. I mean, at some point in the fight, her arm transforms into a fucking cannon.
Yeah.
So she's augmented at least.
She, this whole sequence, there's a lot of goofiness here.
Yeah, Stone doesn't expect them to win. He just wants to delay our party, which is classic villain shit.
And they definitely do that because they have a lot of shit to say.
Yeah, they talk for a long time. Serephita is the dit stereotype, and Talone's very serious, so they exist to contrast against each other and drive each other insane. And they insult their objective, too. They see what Stone just took and says, now Ramses has us protecting this garbage. So they're all holier than thou and dismissive.
Yeah.
And do you have what they say at the party before the fight?
I have some stuff about the cyborg stuff.
Oh. Okay, well, they say, well, this is how it is, folks. It'll help us if you'd hurry up and lose.
Yeah, that's a good line. Before that, or at some point during this conversation, Serephita refers to Tolone's gin and tonic futon brain cyborg implants that make you smart.
Yeah.
And she corrects her and says they are the positronic photon brain.
Yes.
You idiot.
So they're fighting and bickering before they fight us.
And this is the dumbest shit in the world.
Yep, worst line in the game. Worst line in the game.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's bound to get us in trouble with the makers of Star Trek.
They just threw that in there.
Yeah, the study guide says, obviously this stuff was all added, and then it said, period, localization, !!
Yeah, just wanted to do that. Like, that's totally out of line with everything that we've seen in the way the dialogue is in this game.
I get the bickering between them, but they kind of made it a little bit, but it's too much.
No, yeah, the bickering is there for a reason, but the fucking Star Trek,
yeah. Elly had actually a really good line here.
Yeah.
At some point, someone said, I don't know if it was Sighton or Billy, is like, are we supposed to take these people seriously? And then Elly says, all this shit makes, she didn't say shit, I'm paraphrasing. She says, all this shit actually makes them really dangerous instead of less dangerous because they're not predictable as far as what they're going to do.
Good point.
Like they have a bigger capacity for violence.
In my case, Billy just asked if they have too much free time on their hands.
Yeah, that's funny.
So, sure. Battle begin, right?
Well, at some point, Tolone says, well, excuse us. And there's that little tilde thing in the middle of excuse, which is like a super 90s for, like, you could have easily said button your fly there or something.
Button your fly, asshole.
Yeah. So, yeah. Then the battle starts. They each have 2,500 hit points.
Oh, thank you for that. I used a specific strategy on this because I knew the elements were of
elemental power.
Of elemental power.
Yeah, Tolone is wind, Serephita's fire.
I used Sighton's Susui to block fire.
Nice. On the whole party or just him?
The whole party. I powered it up with his skill that focuses his buffs across the whole party and used that. And then that way, Serephita did very little damage to me, and then I could just focus all my efforts on beating Thrones, Tolone, whatever her name is.
Tolone.
And so then I built up some sick combos. Bart's Ether Down whip seemed to maybe help me a little bit here.
Yeah. It's funny, you always reach for the strategy stuff, and I just beat ass the entire time.
Well, I mean,
it's better to play the game that way. You want to explore the battle system.
Yeah, I wanted to see if there's anything neat I could do.
You know what I discovered here?
Yeah.
Billy sucks. Like, he does a lot of damage, but he's like 220 hit points for me. Like, Sighton has like 600 at this point. Billy's At some point, Tolone has a Ninja Turtle dive kick that does 700 HP of damage on Billy.
Oh,
he just one-shots him every time.
That did not happen to me.
Serephita has an attack where she rubs her ass on Elly and steals EP.
Yeah, I wrote that down as a booty shaking EP stealing move.
Oh, okay, shaking.
Yeah.
As opposed to rubbing. So it's not quite a lab dance, it's just a don't touch dance.
Yeah, you don't have to have a license for that.
In the aforementioned sequence where Tolone takes off her arm, she fires a positron beam, which goes with positronic photon brain.
Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, I think maybe you're over-leveled.
Yeah.
I
just powered through. Brute force.
I didn't have a terribly difficult time with this, but I did have there was a challenge. I did have to make sure I did things.
Yeah,
so I just built up some combos and unleashed, and it was fun.
She killed Billy 3 times. I had to use 3 Zetasols to wake his ass back up. Because you don't want him to die after boss fights, because then he'll get the experience.
Yeah. So that's it, right?
Yeah.
I took out Tolone first and then focused on Serephita.
Yeah, when you defeat when they kind of kneel over. And they both have a surprising amount of animation. When they get hit, I noticed everyone has their own get back up animation. Elly does a ridiculous flip.
Yeah,
Sidon kind of rises. But they have these animations too. They're not... Someone hand animated the pixels to move this way.
Yeah, and their idle animations are pretty good too.
Yeah.
They're pretty well realized, very lush, and very kind of... Serephita especially is just kind of bouncy.
Yeah, her hair bounces along while she kind of idle. It's like she's fidgety, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the fact that they have this much artwork and time invested into them suggests that we're going to see them 1 to 2 more times.
1 to 2 more times, yes. Let's note we are currently battling them to the Night of Fire music.
Yes.
We will see later if they get demoted to Steel Giant.
Steel Giant. Well, I don't know if they'll actually get demoted because the Proud Boys never actually had their own character sprites. They were just generic sprites.
Yeah,
so these people are meant to be more... I mean, they had portraits, but these actually have portraits and sprites and personalities. Like Vance and... I can't remember their names anymore.
Rank, Helmholtz.
They're all the same guy.
Are they gone?
It's a good question.
We haven't seen them in a long time.
It's been a while, but we haven't actually, they were Elly's squad and Elly defected, right?
Yeah.
Her interactions with the Solarian homeworld have been upgraded to Miang and then getting Dominioned.
Yep, that's true.
So after this battle...
That's it. When you beat them, Fuse is playing for some reason.
Yeah.
And they run away. Then, after you exit, things change.
A little bit.
For a moment.
Well, at the Yggdrasil, are you talking about, do we have the shot of Faye sleeping yet, or is
yes,
that... Okay.
The shot of Faye sleeping. We have some inner dialogue flashing on the screen in front of, above Faye, and it says, "Our cursed existence bound to the earth."
Yeah.
Heartbeat. "O vessel for a new soul, created to remove that yoke," which, again, is the inner dialogue.
It's pretty direct there.
It's the inner dialogue of Faye is specifically referencing the nanomachine colony girl that we just met, right?
Yeah. Saying maybe Faye was the one to extract that person.
And if we couldn't extrapolate it from the term yoke, it immediately cuts to an image of that girl in a tube, tube again.
And then it cuts to someone else.
Yes. It cuts to an image of a Fae-like man in a scientist coat behind a glass pane.
Yeah.
And a Elly woman laying on the floor.
On one side of the glass. Oh, yeah. She's separated by a side of glass, and she's saying she can't just hand their child over to him.
This maybe shed some light on some of the Elly stuff that you saw on the way down here.
Yeah.
Maybe. There's some dialogue here. I'm not sure who's saying what, but it says, I just can't hand our child over to you. Heartbeat. Then it cuts to some soldiers in berets, closing in on the scene.
Yeah. It's the classic where there's, a scientist doing nefarious shit and then he's locked off, no matter if the soldiers or his wife or whatever is rushing toward them. There's been a lot of movies where this shit happens.
Yeah. Then it cuts to black. We see somebody say, "No, stop it." Then go ahead.
There's a ticking clock and pendulum swings.
Yeah. We see the image of Faye asleep on the Yggdrasil. Another flash to the green hair girl in the tube. Then we see the man in the lab coat in a different angle.
Yeah.
And you can see again that this person has the exact same sprite as Faye, except for wearing different clothes.
So it's wearing Dr. Mario's coat.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're still seeing the lab scene, but then the lab scene kind of dissipates and it's just the Faye sprite, or the Faye scientist sprite on the black screen. And that's when the pendulum, Nissan Cross, and then an evil Faye boy sprite creeps behind him and says, he. And I'm glad the localizers didn't put he haul.
Yeah, that's good.
Or something. And then it pans back to the Yggdrasil, and the doctor can't find Faye.
Yeah, Faye's gone.
She's fucking gone.
The last thing that little evil Faye says is, "See ya."
Yeah, it's
And the bed's empty. Faye's gone.
Yeah.
Faye's gone. Chapter end.
So
we also didn't, perhaps referenced it earlier. I think we didn't directly say it, but when Elly had her anime flashbacks with the blood hallway, it was here. And we don't know if that's because she was here earlier as a member of Solaris or if this is a generational flashback.
I always read those scenes as them trying to experiment with the drive on Elly, and
that's
then
what
her
I thought
fucking
too.
Some shit up.
But this
is that a red herring to lead us in the wrong direction?
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's clear or not. I just think there's enough evidence there to maybe suggest it's a possibility.
Yeah, could be either way.
But yeah, for now, Faye's gone.
Faye's gone.
Ross here somewhere monitoring.
Bishop Stone has the key to everything that all the various parties have been working towards to this point. Apparently, whatever inner voices that are inside of Faye know about it too. So Faye apparently inside of his brain has a scenario.
He's got to go.
Yeah, he's got to go.
Got an autopilot scenario.
Yeah, this shit has kind of gone off the deep end, at least maybe as much as it has in a really long time. And we're just in the middle of a hallway at a save point, waiting to see what's going to happen next. Because that's the end of the chapter. Ocean floor, aka buried ruins at the bottom of the ocean. It doesn't matter. We said at the beginning of the podcast.
The ruins under the ocean.
Thank you. So that was a hell of a ride. I think it was a good decision to only do one chapter tonight.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I could put enough energy into what I think is going to happen next. Next time, we will talk to you about that. So thank you to our patrons for supporting us, and you too, Eric, or whoever, can be a patron too at patreon.com/retroam. Follow us on Twitter at retroamnesiapod. Send us an email, retrogradeamnesiapodcast@gmail.com. Thank you, Mark
Shepard,
for the introductory music. It's great. If we ever do a different video game on this podcast, I think we should just keep it because it's really good.
Yeah. Or, I mean, I don't know. If we give another large bottle of whiskey, maybe he'll make a new song.
Yeah. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Anything else to add, Eric?
No.
Until next time.
Yes, we will kill God.
And now you may go back to sleep. And when you wake up, you might not be there because your inner voice is taking over
God's
to go
fucked
execute
up.
your scenario.
How can I not be there?
It's fucking crazy.
How am I
It's
not
weird.
myself?
I don't know. Billy says when he loses, oh shit, I gotta mix
He
it
says,
up.
oh shit.
No. Button your fly, asshole.
Yeah.
Ah!
Comics last night. The first two were local. The second one was a lady, and she got up on the stage, and the first thing she said was, I like anime and titties.
Oh, nice. Did she say titties with two T's or two D's?
Two D's, I believe.
Okay.
Titties, yeah.
Okay, good. Great. Before, my voice cracked.
That was nice.
One of my coworkers who knows nothing about anime said, I saw somebody dressed up as anime for Halloween.
Yes, so at the last point, you know,
one of them good fighting shows. Because I was sicker than shit the next day, so it worked out perfectly.
What's he say?
Constructed form. No.
What's he say?
Constructed from What's
he say?
I didn't write it on here. Shit. A comprehensive podcast series about Xenogears. Once upon a time, two people with an immense appreciation for giant robots, religious apocrypha, and psychoanalysis got married and wrote a video game script. That series of events.
Got him. Got him.
A little behind the scenes, Eric printed my notes for me today, and he changed events to farts. So should I read the whole thing again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fatality. 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 Fatality.
Fatality.